Welcome to another Tokyo Xtreme Racer update video. With the recent launch of the PS5 version, we've also gotten an update for PC. Was all announced just after I recorded my last video on the game, so yeah, bit of a weird timing, but here we are and we've gotten quite a few little goodies, so let's check out the new stuff. Starting with the 3 new cars. And 2 of them being Honda, 1 of them a Mazda, so let's check out the Hondas first, starting with the Fit. Nice little 4-door compact, really very much an early game option. So I don't know if it's even viable early game, you cannot really start with it, but you can potentially buy it very quickly. It's not that expensive, might be actually the new cheapest thing to switch over to from the starter cars. But yeah, if it's viable, this might be a different question. I recently started a new challenge run, and if I had known that this would come out, I might have waited a bit longer in order to try this out from the get-go. Bit too late for that now, but yeah, I like this edition, really nice car, great fit for the game. The second car right here is the Honda Accord. Another good one to have. I think it has also been in some of the earlier TXRs, and yeah, I might actually get to drive this a bit later down the line in my playthrough here. So yeah, good addition once more, and really happy to see this one. The Mazda, however, I gotta be honest, this does really nothing for me. The CX-3 is a SUV crossover kinda deal. I don't care much about that type of car, but it's a third new car here and it's free, so yeah, why not? Always gonna take the free stuff. But yeah, the devs have also said that these took a while longer to develop than they thought. I don't know if they were planned for the initial release of the game or maybe for that rumored December update that never came out. But yeah, we've got them now, and yeah, while it's nice having some free cars, there are also some downsides here, I would say. There are no new rivals driving them, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion. So no new teammates driving them, no new teams at all, no new wanderers, and I'm not even sure if they ever appear in traffic. I think that would be the least they could do with them. But yeah, might not be able to see them unless we buy them ourselves and drive them around. Still, having some options for ourselves is nice, but I think having them as part of a rival roster would be really what should be happening. But yeah, looking back at how some of the early game Hondas have been handled, the ones that came out with a full release, I don't expect too much on that front anymore. And while it's nice having some more cars, honestly I've been kinda holding up my hope for some of the JDM legends to be added to the game, like MR2, Toyota Sora, Celica, Mitsubishi FTO, different versions of the Eclipse, etc. I think at this point I'm just gonna take the game for what it is, enjoy it because it's certainly still a pretty decent game, but not hold up my hope anymore. Just gonna accept that we might not get any more cars. If we do, that's great, and I'll be happy and a bit surprised about it, but I think it's better to just not expect anything of that type anymore, and maybe hope for another game in the future that really does an expanded roster with a bit more budget. This one, after all, is still a smaller budget title, and for that I think it's still a pretty good one. But yeah, so much about the fully new cars. There are also some additions that have been in traffic before and we can now drive ourselves. Before we get to them though, let's take a look at where we can find the new cars in the perk tree. Honda Fit right here on the top tier. So that's a very early one and usually not even all that competitive. Down here we can find the Accord. And over here, that's where we can see the CX-3. So yeah, that's all of them, very much at the top of the list, so very early game. The new additions, despite their performance, have been put at the very end. We got the Toyota Townace and the Toyota Dyna. So a van and a truck. And I think the reason why they are so far down here is because the performance is not amazing and they wouldn't be a competitive option if you unlocked them anytime over here. So this is more to save the player from wasting BP and money. So yeah, these are likely better for end game to play around with once you got the engine swaps and all of that. So I think that's the intention behind that, but I'm not too sure. I wasn't able to buy them yet. But yeah, I think that's what it boils down to if you look at the power score right there. 146, 143, that's not that amazing. I mean, even compared to some of the starter cars. Where is it? Right here. 242, yeah, that's definitely quite a bit faster. But yeah, so much about all of these. Let's talk about the other additions now. This is it for strictly for content, I would say. We've gotten a Spanish and French language option now. So that's pretty nice. I don't really speak any of those languages, so I cannot vouch for the quality of those. I mean, I can say Je ne parle pas français, but that's about it. So let's move on to the next thing. New Game Plus now carries over the total distance driven. There's been a bit of an option when it comes to New Game Plus. The runs are usually a bit shorter, especially if you go for the no loss challenge, just trying to beat all the rivals as quickly as possible without ever losing. And there are a few endgame rivals, wanderers to be specific, that require 3000 kilometers driven. And when you rush through the stuff, you might end up with maybe half of that by the time you reach the last few wanderers, and just driving around trying to accumulate mileage isn't the most interesting thing, so carrying over the total mileage definitely fixes that, and I think that's a good idea. So happy that we got that. Next up, custom cars have nitro if a rival had it. They can now be sold and they have an option to equip auras. There have also been an array of symbols for custom cars, and I gotta say I'm not really too happy about how they handled it. If you go to the help menu, you can check what those symbols mean. Most of these have the same 4 right here. And the symbols are basically a variation of these 6 options right here. The first one means we cannot equip any upgrades. The second one, we cannot tune the upgrades, so we cannot change the car's settings or anything. That's especially detrimental to one of the R35 GTRs, which cannot change the transmission ratio, and that means even with custom transmission it will always max out at around 320 kilometers or something, while other upgraded cars of that range can do 100 more, so that sucks. The third one means no aero options. Fourth one, limited aero options. Not entirely sure what would be allowed in that case. I might eventually have to buy a car to test that. Fifth one, no livery options at all. The last one, limited livery options, and from what I've seen, the limit is that you can equip an aura. It kinda sucks when it comes to cars with very special white body kits and that kind of thing. And it's really limiting with what you can do with the stuff. For those special body kit cars, I would really like the option to upgrade them how I want to make them endgame ready. Add a custom livery and that kind of stuff, just full customization except for the body kit. I think that would be really nice, and from what I'm seeing right now, we might not be able to do that unless we use mods. So I might eventually have to switch over to that. But I think worse than that, these symbols are kinda not precise enough. With so many of these cars, it's the same for symbols. And I think they should have maybe just made one for all of these that says you take them as they are. So no upgrading, no tuning, no change to anything on the body kit, etc. You can equip an aura and that's it, because that's all that you can do with them. And that would be a precise, simple way of telling this. Leaving the ambiguity of some things might not work with the livery is kinda not amazing. And beyond that, honestly, I think at the very least some of these should have options to add some regular upgrades to them so that we can make them maybe more mid-game or end-game ready if we choose to buy them. As it is right now, what the hell am I gonna do with the Rolling Masters car with 152 horsepower? That's just gonna be very useless very soon after I buy it. So yeah, I don't know if there are many cars that have maybe a few more options than this. Might have to do the entire playthrough in order to find that out, but as it is right now, yeah, some of it is a bit ambiguous, and from what I've seen, I've bought at least one of these to try out, and it just didn't really do much apart from aura. That was really the only thing. But yeah, the next big thing here is the replay option. First up, in order to activate replay, you need to go into your game settings, and close to the bottom you will find this. As long as this is on, you will get replay saved. It only saves the battles, so not the roaming around between battles, and there is a limit of 30 files that are being saved temporarily. You can find them in the reference menu. And if you go to Replay Theater right here, you can see the last 30 battles that you had. And you can then also check them out. You can save them permanently if you want to. And yeah, just go from there. The replay menu overall is pretty bulk standard. You get the option to switch between multiple camera angles. I don't think you can even activate the photo mode from here, which is a really weird oversight. I think this would be one of the more useful things to do here. Just get in here and yeah, look for a specific moment, go into photo mode and take a snapshot, but it just doesn't work. It's not compatible. But yeah, we got a few options here. I think I already won at that point. It was a really short battle. We can make the whole thing run faster or slower if we want to. And honestly, it's not even running with a good frame rate. I noticed some stuttering early on. This of course is now because it's slowed down. And yeah, we get a few options here, nothing too crazy. HUD is only the thing in the bottom left there, so that's my inputs. I think we can auto loop the entire thing and also move back and forth by 10-second increments. Or completely restart the whole thing. But yeah, this doesn't run at a great frame rate, I'm noticing. Bit of stuttering in there, so I don't know. Was at least hoping for photo mode to be available here, but that's not the case. But yeah, we can save them permanently if it was a really amazing battle and watch them whenever we want. So that's kinda nice. But yeah, that's it for that mode. Next thing is music selection has been added. So if we go into our options again, there is now music selection right here. and it comes in 3 different segments, each of them with their own set of songs. So garage menu songs are right here, and we can always choose between the original ones that have been added to the game and with how they have been tuned, when they appear and all of that. We can go to custom and choose a different song for every single area here. For example, if I want the garage song to maybe be this one here, grind hip remix, whatever, I can do that, and there may have been a few more additions here. Like the original versions are in now, which is nice. So I can just go in between these and check out whatever I wanna do here. So yeah, that's kind of cool. We can do different things in different screens, and it's kind of the same thing for free run. Like 3 different free run songs can be chosen here, and we can also do that in battle. I didn't even notice that the battle music depends on the stage you are in. You of course get different music for the leader, boss, wanderers, and other battle. So yeah, this is basically the standard settings, and I can now choose to do whatever I want with this. I can also go to a playlist. So these will just be giving me just a certain amount of tracks here, and they will just be played whenever I'm in free run, whenever I'm anywhere in the garage or menus. So this is how you get completely different songs, but it's not really depending on the context anymore. But yeah, if you just wanna hear the playlist up and down, there are 12 tracks available, or slots for 12 tracks. Not every single segment of the game has 12 options here. Especially free run just has a few, it's like 10 over here. And in some cases you might not even be able to get all of them in, because there are more tracks than you can put into the playlist. So not really a perfect system, but it gives a few options here and there, and especially if you got a bit tired of certain songs but don't just want to run an out of game playlist all the time, you can at least reshuffle a few things, so that's nice. Okay, that kinda brings us to the end of the overview here. There have been a few little bug fixes and all of that, but some of them haven't even been all that precise with what they do, so I cannot even go into depth about it, because they just said fix a few UI things, fix a few things about rival cars not looking too great, and not going into details which cars are being worked on, that kind of thing. But yeah, now to the things that I would have liked to see here. And maybe this is something that we can get in a future update. When it comes to overall content things, I'm not going to hold my breath anymore. I said that doing the car stuff, but I still would like to see some things like more iconic cars, getting a map expansion, getting the rival roster overhauled, taking care of the weird power gap in the mid to late game between a lot of late 90s, early 2000s cars and the GTRs, etc. I don't think any of that will be happening. And while I don't really like it all that much, I also don't like that we don't have any Hondas in the first half of the game as rivals. I'm just gonna have to live with it. The game would be better if they addressed it. It would be a lot of work, and that might just not be happening, and I'm just gonna have to be okay with that. I'm still playing the game, so it's not something that's a total deal breaker for me. But things that I would like to see being addressed are mainly of 2 things. First up, I want more New Game Plus options. I want the ability to set my starting cash for the next run, the amount of BP I have from the amount that I totally that I own in total, set a starter car, and hide everything else in my garage until late game or something to set up my own custom runs here. Yes, I can just start a new playthrough in some cases. Doesn't really work with getting certain starter cars and all of that. But it also still kinda sucks because I can only really have one save file and some backups, and they don't really compare with each other. And by being able to hide your funds from your previous games and the cars, you could still get them back once you get to late game. Could always also have a button in here like in the perk menu. Here at the bottom, the give up button. That might also then work to just first get back your entire garage, get back all your funds and all of that. Just give back everything that you had before. Or you could just go back into the main menu, start a new run, and then set up everything from scratch again. But I think something like this would be a really good option to make New Game Plus more interesting. Also, it should come with the option to get back all those tuning logs over here. Like with all the bosses you need to beat in order to unlock the stuff again. All of that being open by default on New Game Plus, I've never been a fan of that. I think it completely robs the New Game Plus of any meaning past doing the no loss playthrough, which is not really one that I've found to be too much fun to begin with. But yeah, adding options like that to set up your own custom run would both help the longevity of the game with replayability and just add more meaning to the New Game Plus mode overall. Because right now it's just New Game minus all the stuff that made the first playthrough interesting. And yeah, the second thing I want, and if they do nothing else with the game, this is what I think they should be focusing on: overhaul the livery editor. This entire thing here, especially with vinyl, look at Forza and then just copy it as much as it's possible, because honestly this thing is kind of a pain. So things that I want in detail, to be specific about it. First up, I want coordinates for the position. That's kind of a necessity to tell if something is on the same level as something else. If you put a stripe down the middle of the car, just across the entire thing. If I go down here, top sideways, and then put up a line. If I for some reason need to move it, maybe I only want it on the front, I can move it like this, but whenever I go like this, I can now start again, because I don't know if this is now in the middle again. Maybe it needs to be a bit further up. Maybe that's too far up now. The game doesn't tell me. I have no real way of knowing. So that sucks. We need coordinates. Simple as that. Copy and paste vinyls should also be a very basic tool, and it's very much required whenever you want to do, like, maybe painting half the car in a different color and want to do some pinstriping. Then just being able to copy another layer of the same decal, change the color and change the size ever so slightly. Works beautifully in other games. Necessity should be in here. Set the existing vinyl to a different type. Also very important. Makes a lot of shortcuts happen. Because if I maybe I start with a stripe and then I want to add a circle on top, being able to change that immediately instead of having to decide over here, then let's add another new one. Let's go back to the side I want to add it on. When I go find the shape, when I go through this menu again, maybe instead of circle it should be something else, maybe the hexagon right here. It's a stupid amount of steps. Also, very importantly, add a palette for recently used colors. If you need to paint multiple things in the same color and it's something like even something as simple as black, maybe with a certain amount of pearl and matte effect, it's not in here. Why do I have to set up black all the time? It's kind of a pain. Like a lot of things with this menu are honestly a pain. And that would be the last thing, and that's where I mentioned Forza earlier. The menus in this game are a bit atrocious, especially for this stuff. In Forza, most of the things are actually being done from a menu equivalent to this one right here. I can pull a trigger to change the side that I'm looking at. I can press a button to change the color, which you can do here as well. I can press a button in order to switch up the to copy the layer. And yeah, there's another thing there that's more akin to the other thing here. If I go to re-edit, where I get all the layers and all of that, and that's just all so quickly and easily done there. So yeah, having to go through all of these sub-menus, especially this stupidly unnecessary step right here. Add new should just be a button somewhere over here that's always active, with this also being active. There's no reason to have this being a thing that you need to activate first. So yeah, this should always be active, and there should just be a button over here to add a new decal on top and not having to back in and out of the menu. The reason I'm focusing on this so much is if they do all of the things that I mentioned, I mean, maybe not copy Forza 101, but maybe take some menu design cues from that game, they would have a version of this that can be used in the next game. And it would be something that they can just reuse and maybe update here and there with new vinyls and all of that, but the structure, the basic functionality would be good enough to keep it for the next few games. And honestly, if they come out with this exact system in the next TXR, be it a drift, be it another Shotoku battle, I would be fucking pissed. I hate this. This is barely tolerable. So yeah, please, at the very least, improve this thing. It's gonna be useful for the next game again. So it would be nice to sort all of that out and then go from there. But yeah, that's kind of been my talk regarding this thing. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the matter. I'm just gonna go back to my challenge run here and go from there. If you want a quick rundown of the challenge run, by the way, basically I had to choose one of these top level cars for the initial zone right here, the first stage, or what I like to call stage 0, that's just on the C1. Once that opens up, I could choose the next set of cars over here, all on this level. And now I'm basically on this level here with what's kind of just the starter cars. And yeah, once I beat the next set of bosses, I can go over to this set and so on and so forth. I know I will likely be missing out on quite a few cars in the end going through this, and if I run into a wall where I cannot compete anymore, I might have to choose something else. I can always skip ahead a bit if necessary, but that's kind of a plan for the current run here. Anyway, it's not really much more to be said here. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Until then, as always, have a good one, and bye bye.